Okay, good morning to everybody. Do you hear me? Good, I'm happy. So I thought I need to tell you about origametria, and then I thought it's better you start full this morning, and then I tell you about origametria. So what you see now that I'm showing you, it's, just a minute. Let's move. I show you origametria e-learning site, and I'm going to talk from the origametria site. Okay. So what you see that usually the teacher, I go to grade 3, and the teacher in the class, screen that like here in the class and work with the student. If you see this rabbit, it's teach polygon. And the spaceship teach quadrilateral. And this bird and the box, each one of the model teach some topic in geometry. So like the box teach a perpendicular. So today I'm going to show you some lesson who call reflected trapezium. You got 2 paper. You see the result. But when the teacher come to the class, she opened the lesson, she choose the class she prepare. It's called Helsinki Miri today. And she opened the lesson. Now, usually she can prepare the lesson and write comment. Maybe she want to ask them some other question in the middle of a lesson, she can do it in the preparation. But because I already prepared today, so I go straight to the lesson. And now she hands to the kids the origami paper. So the children take the paper and she start to teach. You already got the paper. So one of the questions she asked them, what is the shape of this paper? So if I ask you, you say it's a square. And I ask you, why is a square? You always have discussion, question and answer and folding instruction. So you say to me, okay, it's a square because all the sides is equal, have a right angle. So it's a square. But how do you know all the sides is equal? How do you know it's a right angle? We know from the PISA exam, many of the children fail because they say it's look like. Yeah, and we, with origametria, deal with this look like. The children work with the hand and the virtual word in the same time. So how we can do it? How we can know this is equal side and right angle? So I ask you to take one of the paper you have and fold one side to the parallel side. Always, it's better to fold on the table and not in the air. And I know you have small tables, so I suggest you to open your table and fold. And you fold now, long side to the parallel side. And after you did that, you put a sign of a right angle only on one corner. So if you see the, we call it paper measuring tool, and every student have it in his bag. If he lost it, it's easy to make a new one, yeah? So now he can check that and say, yes, all side is equal and the angle is a right angle, okay? So after he checked that, then we know that he know it, okay? Everybody have a square? Somebody don't have a square? Okay, so the measuring tool, this is how we start. Now, the children doesn't know what we fold. You see it in the beginning when I got into the lesson. Why they don't see it? When the teacher get into the lesson, The name of the lesson is reflective trapezium. It doesn't say what's the model we fold. If we want the children's imagination to work, and we know the children have high imagination, they have more cognitive ability, and it's important to develop the imagination. So we don't tell them, oh, we fold now a horse, now we fold a bird. We don't tell them what we fold. What we fold today, it's a surprise. So each time the paper change, they get a different model. So now I ask you, how many pairs of parallel sides you have in your paper? And how you check that? So you tell me, yes, there is two pair of parallel sides. This is one of them, and this is another one of them. But how do you check they are parallel? Why? If you show them in the square, all the children say it's parallel. Show them a rhombus, say it's not a parallel, yeah? It doesn't look like. So we teach them to take the measuring tool and make a perpendicular line between the two sides. And then you know the distance between the two parallel sides is equal. So now we fold. Take the other paper you have and fold one vertex to the opposite vertex. Now, I don't speak origami language because while you come to teach, you want to teach them with the mathematics language. One of the beautiful comments I heard from teacher, they feel like they and the children have speaking the same language because the children can read that. They read the question, they read the instruction, they read the answer. And this is very important because many times we need to give them a good mathematics language and they get used to that. So now we fold it and open it. And now what we do, we fold the side to the symmetric line. Now, when you fold it, make sure you fold in the same direction you have here, okay? Now, if you see the light, the balls, how you call it? If I put the mouse here, it's a comment we give the teacher in the lesson if she wants to remember something more, yeah? So now I tell the teacher, make sure the student fold it in the right direction. If I move the mouse, it's disappear, okay? If the teacher put her mark, she will see it in the other side. So after you fold it, I ask them how many pair of parallel sides you see in the shape here. So the children check that. How you check that? How you check it? With the rulers, yeah, paper rulers. So what we do, we put the paper rulers on the shape we did, and we mark it. And we see the two sides are parallel to each other. If you check it, we know it. So now we check the other side. No, sorry. This is the parallel side. This is how we mark it. And now we check the other side. Okay? And now we see that if we continue, the two lines can meet. So this is not a parallel. So just now, we say what is trapezium. Part of the, I remember I teach in Los Angeles and asked the children to make a square and asked them what's that. They say it's a square. And I asked them why it's a square. And they said because the square, they try to remember what the teacher told them. If you teach by repeating, by memories, you teach nothing. But if the student investigate it and check that, they never forget it. So here, we check the parallel, how many pair, and we saw in the square they have two, and we saw in the trapezium we have one. So this is how I build the knowledge. So now what I need you to do to fold the vertex as it's shown in animation. Now I want to show you something more about this animation. We work very hard on it. The animation repeat again and again and again and again. So if the teacher wants to go between the children and see that everybody is okay, the animation continue to show it again and again so the children know how to do it. The model is created by Paul Jackson, and he do all the work with the animator. Okay, so now how many pairs of parallel side we have in this shape? So how we check that? So again, we look at the two sides and we see that if we continue, they can meet. And if I see the other side, they also can meet. Now, it's look a bit like trapezium, yeah? If you ask children, they say trapezium, but it's not, because it doesn't have any. So when the children check that, they never do mistake. So it's quadrilateral, but it's not trapezium. So now we fold another vertex. Now, when you fold the last one, you need to make sure that it's be exactly lined up as you see in animation. Now, if I ask you, is it important to accurate in origami? Probably all of you will say, yes, it's very important. And I say to you, no. Why not? People who get annoyed from if they are not folding accurate, it's people who are very, very accurate. They want everything to be precise. People who don't accurate, they just fold and say, it's okay. They don't see it. If I come and make a comment to them, they get frustration. I never saw anybody who learned from frustration. That's why I never check. And the student asked me, is it accurate? And I say, I don't know, what do you think? Is it accurate for you? Is it okay? No, it's not. Okay, so fix it. It's not me, it's you. It's your work. Another thing we do, there is a lot of method that I don't have time to tell you about it because origametria come with an important method so it can make the student feel good about their work. We never touch the children's work. I don't know if somebody come and teach you origami and they couldn't make it, then he took your paper and make it. It's terrible. When I train teacher, maths teacher, and I really all the time tell them, you're not allowed to touch the student work. So they tell me, they put the hand behind the back and they don't breathe because the reflex is to touch. And maths teacher tell me, I stop to take the pencil and make write on the notebook of the student that I never understand why they do it. Yeah, they usually don't have a understand it, but after they experience that, they find it's better to teach without. So after you got it, we check again. Is this how many pair of parallel side we have? So we check with the measuring tool. Okay. And we see that this side is parallel, two sides parallel. So this is how we mark it. And then we look at the other two sides and we see they are not. So what do you think? Is this trapezium? Now the children know what is trapezium. They never forget. Okay. So now we open all the fold we make. And this is one of my favorite parts because if you look at that, you find many trapezium. Some of them look like, some of them not look like. And when the child open it, try to find it, try to discover, it's a lot of learning. Learning have to be by research, discovering. Yeah, not but what I tell you. It's by what you find, what you discover. This is a learning. So now they can look at that and try to find out. And I never show them, where is the trapezium here? Because I want them to go home and think, is this more trapezium? And I want them to work. Like student asked me a question, I never gave them an answer. I always say, it's very interesting. What do you think? I like them to think. This is the most important. So now we continue to fold, but when we finish to fold, you can open and look at it again. So look, make sure that you fold the vertex as is showing the animation, okay? That's why it was important in the beginning to fold in the same direction. Now, all the model in origametria, they're very simple, very beautiful. Paul create them. And it's easy for the student to make them and for the teacher to teach them. The lesson, the geometry in the lesson is built by, with Dr. Johnny Oberman, who is one of the writers of the curriculum in maths in Israel. He has 60 years of experience, and we put all of it in origametry, and I'm very proud of that. Okay, so now we fold, after you fold the small triangle, you fold all the triangle as it shows, okay? Now, if children fold it and they need help, I don't touch a children's paper, but I come to him and I hold my paper in the same direction as his paper and show him with my. It's very important. Okay, so now I fold the side. You have a triangle and you fold the short side to the long side. So you see all the lesson here is mathematics language. It's very important. And now we just close the small triangle. Do you know you are the first people who see the origametria new e-learning side, because we have another digital side, and we soon, another 2 weeks, we launched a new one. This is the new one. So we are the first people in the world who see that. And today I came here and the first time I see it on the big screen, I got really excited. I put hours and hours, all my life I put in it. So now we fold the side to the line as it shows. And now we want to make to the horse small tail. So we tail the small vertex and we fold it. Hope everybody have a horse. So, you know, children are very creative. And what we put here, only small dot and a line. And I asked the student, can you design the horse? Can you put your own design on it? And you can't believe what children can do. You know, I did that. I'm not very good. But the children put a lot of beautiful design. So the most important, I said to every adult, never draw on your work next to a children. Never. If they ask me, I say to them, I don't know how, and I put the crane next to them and go. And they draw amazingly. I have a big collection of children drawing. It's incredible, beautiful. The way they draw, how they draw, it's just incredible. That's why in this part, I want them to draw their own. So all the lesson, the paper changed the shape, and they say, it's a butterfly, it's a frog. It's all the time they start to think what it is, what it is, what it is. Because origami, you tell them each step what to do, yeah? So how you be creative with origami? By not tell them what we're making. So they're all the time thinking, what I'm making, what I'm making. And then they got this horse, and now everybody can put his own touch to this horse. So wait a minute. If you put a light, you can see the horse from the back. So if you look at the light, you see the horse. Just take a picture of you. Where is Paul? Come from here. You see the horse? So if you design it, it will be more beautiful. So we did a similar model. It's a fish. And look what the children did. They run to the window and start to look at it from the window. This is some of the teachers sent me. They designed the fish and look at it from the window. And this was just, they run to the window, and it's beautiful to see it, yeah? So my question, did I teach them what is trapezium? Did they ever forget it? And what did they learn? They learned to check, yeah? And sometimes the lesson finished and the children still investigate and learning and try to find it out. The origametria is from kindergarten to middle school. Kindergarten, it's a bit different, but it's beautiful. And one of the kindergarten teachers said to me that one of the kids who's not participate and not very active, they moved to a new house. So they went to the new house, house empty. And the kids run to the living room and look and say, look, mommy, it's a lot of square here. Look, this is the right angle, and start to run around the house and just look at the tile. It doesn't look at the room, anything. Because what we did, we play with them with geometry. So the geometry is interesting. And it's the most excitement, I think, topics. So after I show you what is origametria lesson, I can talk to you about origametria. So I go back. Okay, this one, I go from here. So I close the lesson. By the way, I need to show you something. If the teacher wants to see all the steps, she can press here and she can see and go to a certain step she wants. If she wants to hide the text, she can press and the text will go. If she doesn't like the blue and she wants orange, she can change the color. Yeah. When she finished to teach the lesson, let me show you here. Go to the end, almost to the end. Usually in the end, yeah, here it is. You see the teacher drawing? So she can go to her area. And all the all the classes she teach, it's here. If she press on it, she find all the lessons she check. Also, she can send some quiz to the student after she teach. So they need to answer that. And then by the answer, she know if they understand the topic. But in the end of the quiz, they have the step of the folding we did. Because the children doesn't want to go home and just answer questions. They want to make the horse we make today. So they have motivation to go in. So if she want to go in, student want to go in, they can go to student area. So I'll go back to 3rd grade and I talk about, now I can talk about origametria. Okay. So origametria is approved by the Education Ministry. in Israel as a part of the curriculum. And we have about 160,000 students who study every year. We have more than 600 schools. And it's the 4 years the school renew the membership in the site. We usually sell them a membership for 1 year. If you go on the online, you don't see this one. You see the old origametria site. And after 2 or 3 weeks, you get a new one. But the old one is beautiful too, I have to say. So who I am? I born in Jerusalem, in Israel, grew up in Jerusalem. When I do art, I'm an origami artist. When I do art, it's come from my region, from the way I live, the way I grew up in Jerusalem. Since I established the Origami Center, we work with Israeli, Palestinian, Israeli, Arab. We work with all kinds of population in Israel. This is an artwork that I did on a newspaper, one side Arabic, one side Hebrew. And it was in a museum, and I called it Paper Fence. And sometimes I used to stand there and people didn't know I make the work. And I like to hear what people talk. And some people say, it's so nice when the Arab and the Jewish together, the language. And some people say, oh, it's really ones against each other. So it depends what their opinion. This is what they think about my work. I like it. This is 2 holy book. And from the holy book, I cut a paper. It's a handmade, no text on it. Because the word is word of God, so I don't put text. And I cut the paper and fold the man from there, but the man is still connecting to the book. But you cannot know which man belong to which book. This is the 2 men who's coming from the whole book. It's an exhibit in the museum in Israel and been in, I think, 14 museums around America for 5 years, and now it's in a museum in South America. This is another 2 holy book. That is actually one sheet. I like to fold from a Bible paper. I like the touch, and it's very special. And it's cut, the same sheet, moved to one and another book, and just show the connection between the 2 books. 2 different holy books. This is my favorite work. This is the Torah, the Jewish Torah. Usually it's in the synagogue, it's closed in the cabin, but in the middle it's not twist, it's straight. Now the 2 rolls made from a Bible paper, but I bind handmade binding. While I fold it, it starts to be a circle. The middle is the same material to make the Bible from a leather of a cow, but I twist it. And this is my way of saying that you twist the religion, but many times you've been to 14 museums, and many times I've been invited twice to open exhibition with that. It was part of origami exhibition. Paul exhibited that too. And I like to see the comment of the people, how they think. I like them to think about it because this topic is burned inside me, and I grew up in Jerusalem. So in 92, I established the Origami Center. People didn't know what is origami in Israel, and I started to spread it around. And in 2000, I went to Origami Convention in Germany, and I met Paul Jackson, and we got married 5 months after. He asked me to marry him by making an origami ring from $50 butterfly ring. Yeah. So we worked together. We have 2 different areas. You hear about him soon. But we also have working together, and he do a lot of work for origametria. This is Dr. Johnny Oberman. I feel privileged that I'm working with him because he has 60 years of understanding and develop curriculum in a maths education. And he developed origametria with me. We're working together. And I feel I put in origametria Dr. Johnny Oberman legacy of the geometry learning, because he looked on the geometry from the eyes of the student is very important. But many people who's doing origami say, I try to convince the origami is good, and they all the time get the comment, nah. So it is a problem because the maths teacher are very, very busy. They don't have time to start to study origami. They don't have confidence to teach origami. And yes, origami is a good tool to teach geometry, but how? Yeah. So how we can make the maths teacher to teach? So in the beginning, I developed a program called Origami to develop a learning skill. I teach in a special education school for 20 years. And there's, I develop all my teaching methods. They are very unique. So understand the teacher doesn't have time for origami. But as I show you the lesson, you understand she doesn't, if she wants, she can go into the lesson and put her own comment, but she doesn't have to. She just can come to the class, screen it, and teach it. And part of the problem that the teacher bring all this misconception to the children. And while she teach with that, we make sure that she's accurate of the teaching. And in math is important. So also another problem with the origami teaching geometry is it's even they try to put animation and something fun, it stay on the board. And also they still use books, and the way they teach geometries makes geometry boring, and geometry is excitement topics. So part of the problem, the misconception of the student, I'll give you an example. Before I show the example on the screen. I went once to 6th grade. One of the students tell to the teacher, if you hold the triangle like that, is a right angle triangle, but like that, it's not. If you go to the class and you ask the student, what's that? The students say, it's a square. What's that? It's not a square, it's a rhombus. You know how I change it? It's very nice. I said to them, okay, why is it square? Because they have an equal side, 4 equal sides, have right angle, and I check it with the measuring. Okay. Now we move it like that. Is anything of the square character of the square change? Let's try. Does it still have equal side? Still have the right angle? So my name is Miri. When I sit, my name is Miri. If I turn to the other side, I still say Miri, and that's it. It's gone. They know, and they understand. It's so the misconception. It's a big topic. It's part of the reason that the student fell in the exam. Now you have to understand. Many people, and I know there's many foundations put a lot of money in middle and high school to improve the geometry. But the problem is not there. The problem, it's in the kindergarten. We need to start to teach geometry early age. Froebel start when I was 4. And I do believe you need to start 4 years old to teach geometry. If you teach good geometry in the early age, they have no problem with the growth. Because to understand geometry, we need also a good imagination. And when you do it when you're young, then it's much easier for you. If you talk to kids 4, 5, 6, they have really amazing imagination. It's helped to understand the geometry. So I'll give you an example. This triangle, this is a research who have done Tel Aviv University, I think. So they show this to the children in kindergarten. If you have children about 4, 5, even 6, ask them, what's that? They say it's a triangle. Why? Because always they show them the triangle like that. And now you ask them, is this a triangle? Or even you show them like that. They say, no, it's not. Because all the time they show them the same shape of a triangle. It's all the time like that. So if it's all the time like that and you move it, they say it's not. But how we teach them in origametria, we say, okay, we don't ask them if this is a triangle. We ask them, can you count how many sides you have? How many vertices you have? Then, you know, they understand the shape by investigate the shape and not by memorize. So, of course, the solution for all this misconception, it's the origametria online. It's easy to use, very friendly, and also make sure the misconception doesn't go, because we are the teacher who do it. I did with Dr. John Yoberman, I trained a lot of maths teacher. And we asked them, what is the definition of an angle? How you do it? What is the definition? And the way they explained it, you see in the PISA exam, the result. Yeah, they say it's a corner, two line come out from a corner. Okay. So the children say the length of the angle is the angle, or maybe the distance. But angle, it's the distance between one to another. So when we do it with origametria, it's much easier to escape all this misconception. So we have over 200 lessons. Each model here teach some topics, and it's attached to the curriculum in math. And actually, all the curriculum in education all over the world is the same. I've been teaching in many, many countries, and I know it's the same. So we have 200 lessons, and each one teach different topics from kindergarten to 7th grade. Like this one, they make a finger nail, and they learned about the height of a triangle. Or here they do tiling. It's a 5th grade usually. So the fall, they make this tiling. Beautiful lesson, this one. Or this kind of tiling. So I've been asked by one of the professor to go to school and teach there with her. In the beginning, she was very negative. What I'm doing with this origami, I'm a math person and all this. So we did teach, and she saw what's happened to the students. She saw the knowledge. Then she did the research about origametria. And she wrote a few articles about origametria. So what she did, she just did it before COVID. She took the weak group and a strong group. The control group was the strong group. It was about 71%. And the weak group was about 48%. She used few population, Arabs and Jewish. And she saw after a very short time, the weak group have the same result as the strong group by study with origametria. So it's reduced the gap between the strong and the weak. And we know after COVID, this is a very strong topic because the strong people can manage, can take private teacher, but the weak don't. So I know this year is going to be another few research about origametria. I've been asking, of course, I have nothing to do with this research. They do independently, and even the college buy the membership for the origametria and do the research. Every year I trained hundreds of maths teachers. It's nice. In the last year, I don't need to drive anywhere. I just do it by Zoom. Before, I used to take the train a few hours to here, and it was all the time on the road. But now I do everything by Zoom. It's nice. So we train a lot of maths teachers. We don't train them because to use origametria e-learning site is very easy. It's enough one meeting and they know how to use it. But also we work with them about the geometry learning and all this. And I do it with education ministry courses for teachers. So we train every year 100 of teachers. We have 150,000 students who study geometry with origami every week. It's amazing, huh? It's nice. Yeah, I'm very proud of that. You can't believe I woke up in the morning and that's what I do. All right, lesson with Dr. Johnny Oberman, develop with Paul the models, and I just live that. And I put all the lesson and work on it. I just eat and live and breathe this. I look at origami as a work of my life. Come on, you bring me my best husband, you know. I want. But origami, it's amazing, amazing tool. But if we use it, not from the origami side, from the education, because sometimes origami people come with the excitement and they need how to excitement and teach it. And I came from the point of the education ministry needs, what the student needs, what the system needs to make the student better learning, enjoy. Because in the beginning, when I came to the education ministry and I said, look, the children happy when they study. Happy? It's smart. They need to learn. What's happy? So the joy is very, very important. I'm not talking about the motor skill, space awareness, and all the other learning skills that when I was starting with origami, I was really emphasized that. I don't emphasize that because it's implanted in origametria. So what you see here, you got paper for me, eh? The paper you get, we print them in Israel. I refuse to buy paper from China or from other places. We print them in Israel, and the people who pack the paper, it's a handicap. And it's very important to me because it's give them work. Many times I go to the place they are packing our paper, and I'm very happy that I woke up in the morning and they have something to do, like packing our paper. So every teacher or every school who buy pack like that with this paper. Some of the paper, it's a paper, like if I want to teach, just a minute, if I want to teach the children measuring, so we have a special paper that each square is 1 centimeter, so they can learn that. You know this, if I take 2 paper, put it on each other, they're equal. And now I fold to a triangle, and I fold this one to rectangle. And I ask them, is this area equal to this area? No, they are different shape. Yeah, but when they see they are the same, I rotate them and you can see, and this is a half of the same square, and this is a half of the same square. Then we know they are equal, even it's 2 shape. So we have a lot of lesson with the square paper that we do 3 different size, but they are equal area. And then the children understand it. We also have special paper with a dot or isometric, so they can build and work out how to measure with that. So this pack and it's so to each class, it's a lesson. It's according to the lesson. Of course, origametria want to go worldwide. So any one of you, if in your country, you know people, you think origametria can fit, please let us know, because in a new digital origametria e-learning site, we can have any language easily, very easy to turn it to any language. And we do believe that if children learning by playing, investigate, by doing like that, and the teacher teach like that, it's be better result in geometry. And geometry is important topics. So if any one of you want to have a contact with me, please do. And you got here the Jackson cube. So you can take it apart and build it if you want. This is how we give away to the school to show them, yeah, it's origami, it's fun, but this origami teach you geometry. So I hope I open you some window to origametria. And thank you. If you have a question, I'm here to answer.
Thank you for that great talk. So we'll start here with Eve.
No, they need to pay.
I'll repeat the question. So the question was on the cost of the curriculum.
I think if anybody wants to talk to me, but yes, it's cost. You know, all this cost fortune to make the animation and hours of work. So yes, usually school buy a membership for 1 year. What? Can I talk to you later? But if somebody wants price, talk to me about it later. It's not. Yeah.
So the question is about other topics beyond origami, other topics beyond strictly geometry.
Yeah, we start to make a session with fraction, prepare the student for fraction. The problem with fraction that the teacher wants to do quiz with the student before they understand what is a half, what is 3/4, what is. So what we did, we built a session who build the geometry understanding of fraction so they can do. In the middle school, we did go up, and I think this year we're going to go and fill up more lessons to middle school and up. So I think every time we give more and more to higher mathematics, and also not just geometry, touching the mathematics. Paul, you have a question?
So the question is about how origametria helps children with learning disabilities.
I start my way in the special education school. Children was there from intelligent, average and up, but emotional problem and learning problem. Origametria is very, very good for students have dyslexic, learning problem, hyperactive, emotional problem. We have a phrase that I really like. So when I start origami also as a therapy, yeah? And many of the students I teach now, they are 30 years old, and it's amazing what they tell me this changed their life because they start the learning with origametria with me, and then they saw they can succeed and go to the other area. So the phrase is, when the paper fold, the emotional unfold. And it's everything, you know? So in special education, yes. You can use it, and we all the time hear from the teacher. I always have kids in the class who doesn't work, he's not good, he's make a mess, and when origametria start, he sit the first and he have better result. So it is very good tools. Answer your question?
Way in the back up here. So the question is, are there learning theories that are used to frame the student thinking?
You understand the question? Okay. Yeah, we do teach like vanilla, you know, when the children start to, when I train teacher, I talk about vanilla a lot because I think it's very important. They did it in 1950, but still relevant, yeah? So sometimes the teacher escape, don't teach in kindergarten, don't teach first and second grade, start third grade. Now they need to understand angle, but they don't know what is a polygon. They don't know what's the side, they don't know. So a lot of material is missing. And while the teacher teach and the children doesn't understand, it's not because the children have no ability. It's something missing. I always say to teacher when I train them, when you try to teach something and the student don't understand, don't continue to try to explain him the same from a different direction. Check what he missed, what missing of his understanding. Now, I ask if you understand what's missing and you teach him what the missing material, he'll be okay. And I ask my teacher, what the most important thing happened in your class? There's so many things except one. It's the student answer. If he answer me and I listen to his answer, I know what he doesn't know. I know what he knows. The answer is very important. You know, the education system run too much to exam. They say exam 60, 90, 100. What it mean? What it say about me if I have 90 or 60? They said I'm very good or very low. And this is wrong. I think the exam in the beginning start to let the teacher to understand what the student missed so they can complete and be okay. And instead we turn that, is the student is good or not good? And this is wrong. That's why when my son came up to me with 160, 40, I never say to him, very good. I always ask him, are you happy with that? This is what you want? Is it okay for you? And sometimes he got 70 and he said, I'm very happy. And I need to say, okay. It's very important not to, so all what you talk about vanilla and teaching according to ability of the student, it's very, very important to understand that. Because I see many teachers who doesn't understand it. They try to explain it, the student doesn't understand, say, oh, he's not good in math. It's not true. Everybody can be good in math. Everybody can be good in geometry. Just teach right. Yeah.
So the question is this this teaching methodology helpful in students constructing proofs later on in a more formal way?
Help me, Paul. I understand the question.
So when students are doing this, do you have evidence that perhaps later on in school that they do really well in terms of being able to formally prove things in a written way in a geometry class or subsequent courses that they take?
The thing is, before they did the research, I knew it. I heard it from the teacher. Because if the teacher buy it for the 4 years, it's mean it's doing something. So we hear that all the time. I'm working with that for, you know, teaching with origami for more than 30 years. I see all the time that I hear my student when they was young and I was teaching them. So yes, we know it, but it's not enough that I tell you that I improve and they come to me. The most important is be more and more research about it, then people believe it better, yeah? But yes, if you use it and you know it, you know what I said to principal? Because sometimes teachers they say, I don't want to teach it. I don't know if I succeed with origami and all this. So I said to the principal who buy the program, tell your teacher that you're going to come in the lesson they teach origametria. So they should teach and you come. You don't have to come. It's enough you tell them you come, or maybe come for 5 minutes. So if the teacher knows the principal come to watch her, she start to practice and start to teach. What's happened when she start to teach? The children get crazy about it. They don't think, they enjoy the investigation of the geometry. They have some origami model, they love it. And then start to nag the teacher. Can we study origametria? Can we study origametria? So it can form the children and put pressure to the teacher to change, to take something she doesn't know, that it can improve. And after she gives them exam, and she, or the math supervisor in school, suddenly see the result is up, of course they take it.
So the question is, what is the debugging process for the pedagogy that is involved in this origametria site?
You give example that the students fall wrong and what you do, you know, that's what you mean? Okay, after every step we teach, I recommend the teacher to go between the student. We never say to them, it's beautiful, it's good. We say to them, ichiban, in Japanese. Ichi is 1, ban is 1,000, you are champion. Now, ichiban is a word nobody uses, only the origametria teacher. She go between them and in every step almost, and see, she always go in a random way. She doesn't go straight to the kids who doesn't succeed, because he feel like she helped me, she didn't help anybody, then it's become worse. So she make kind of a right all the time going in the same direction, and she give ichiban to everybody. So if I give ichiban, and then he have a problem, if I stop a minute and show him with my paper, nobody feel, and he feel more confident. So it doesn't happen that after a few steps that you find out that he didn't fold it right, yeah? We don't come to this position because we all the time see the student and go over. I hate the word succeed. Very good, you succeed. I hate this word because when I work in a special education, I ask the student why you didn't succeed. The answer I got, I'm not good enough. I have no ability. I'm not good. So when you say succeed, or even you praise, hey, you did successful way, you know, I hate this word because the students stop to try, because what is learning? To try again and again. And there is a word that I say, it's adult word. We learn from mistake. It doesn't work for the student. What we learn from mistake? If I did bad, I'm not good. And they stop trying. So I tell my teacher, open the window, throw the word succeed out of the class and say, did you find? Did you discover that? In Hebrew, we say matzati giliti. It's a nice word. Did you discover that? Did you find it? Why? So ask the student, why you didn't find it? I don't know, I find it later. Why you didn't discover? I will try to discover it after. It's not me. The word success, it's my ability. And I don't like it. So we take this word out of the class. Sometimes I give, you know, I teach the teacher to teach origametria, but many times I give the method. The principal come to me and say, you know, all the year they talk about it. Because I worked 20 years in a special education, I have big understanding what stopped the student to try. We need the student to try all the time because learning is to discover, is to find, it's excitement. It's curiosity. It's not to know knowledge. You open Google, you have knowledge in 2 seconds. It's not important. But to make them, if I finish my lesson and the students still try to find out, or open out the hose, try to find more trapezium, I succeed. If the student take it, put it in the bag and forget about it, I don't know what I did.
So at this point, it is 10:30, which means that it's time for our coffee break.
Yeah.
So what that means is that everyone can go get some coffee, stretch your legs, but come back here at 11 for our next speaker. But coffee time is a time to mingle. So meet some new friends, talk to some old friends, talk to our speaker. But before we go, let's give our speaker a big round of applause.
Thank you.